What are y'all doing? What you smell? You smell the rain coming? It's coming. Hey everybody. Welcome to Jekyll at Home. So unless you have Congestion City over here, where you have to water on the sides, you can actually come in and water right at the base. Just count off about 10 seconds if you're going to do each plant individually. If you're going to do a row between, then count off about 30 seconds back and forth. And that tends to give you plenty of moisture. You don't want to overwater any of your plants. Right, Kai? Hi, Kaya. That's Kaya. You just want to give them enough to where the roots won't dry out. Everything seems to be doing pretty good. This is a nice little bunch of mixture now. I'm probably gonna, these were given by a volunteer at the animal shelter. So there is a distinct possibility that I might pull these squash out. Actually, I think these are cucumber. But I might do that just because I think it'll steal a lot of the nutrients out of the tomatoes and really choke them out as they get bigger. Everything seems to be doing really, really well. Just water that in a little bit, let it get down at the base, and that way you're leaving the leaves dry. And tap water is much different than rainwater. They can sustain a lot better with rainwater because there's no chemicals, there's no fluoride. It's very natural. Well, let me finish this up and then we'll take a good look. Now, I will say this much. As far as seeds are concerned, if you can be patient, seeds are so much less expensive than buying actual plants. This is going to be a fantastic herb garden. There's going to be flowering herbs. There's going to be kitchen herbs. There's just all kinds of goodness in here. But the thing is, it's not instant gratification, and we live in such a state with our civilizations these days where everybody wants everything right now. So you got to pay for right now. If you can just hold out, you're going to get the goodies. It's going to be more gratifying, more self-satisfying, Rascal approved. And you're going to spend so much less money. Buy packs of seeds. Buy heirloom seeds. Buy non-GMO seeds. I'm telling you, it's so worth it. In a few weeks, this stuff is going to be all above the final piece of wood in here. And it's going to have lots of bees. And everybody's going to be super happy. The broccoli's up. The onions are doing fantastic. And all of this has been started from seeds and bunch. Now, one thing I will need to do with the onions, I'm going to have to pull some of the soil away from that, or I'm going to get like little teeny golf ball size onions, which is fine if that's the size you want. But if you want big onions, you're going to have to pull some of the soil away from the tops of these, or they'll compact themselves. Just saying. Little quick tip there for you gardening nerds. So the rule of thumb with just about all leafy vegetables, even if they're going to fruit or flower or grow heads like cabbage does and broccoli does. Now, broccoli does like to be a little more wet, but for the most part, you don't want to get the leaves wet. You just want to water at the base. And most of these things, including blueberry bushes, they all have very shallow roots. Now, one thing that I'll do, because it's still April, is that when I see them start to flower, these plants really aren't big enough to sustain the fruit. of a tomato. So I'll just pluck that off. I'll pinch it and then water at the base. Kind of ease that. Now they say that you can pinch off like up to 30% of the leaves, but I really don't want to stress it out bad. So I'm just going to water it in a little bit and then go through and look for any possible flowers. There's another flower right here. It's actually a little group of them, and I'm going to pinch that right off. Here's another. Just pinch that off because they're not ready to produce yet. They're just too small. Even though it would be kind of cool, the plants really aren't strong enough. They'll just tip right over. So be kind to them and they'll be kind to you. So the moral of the story, basically in this video, is that even with dark skies, even with rain threatening, I don't know how much it's going to rain. And it's not calling like it's going to rain for days. Especially early on when all of your seedlings are just taking root and you want to make sure the terriers are watered. Low humidity. You want to make sure there's about an inch of moisture in your plants, in your flowers, and in your greens. And that is a huge difference. You can see how fast these come up. This is just 3 weeks old. This is 4 weeks back there with that. This is 3 with the greens. That's at the 2-week stage back here. So we have them in rotation. So that way we can continually harvest. And then look at how beautiful this stuff is. That's so pretty. Rascal. He's so silly. So, an inch of moisture. Don't overwater. Try to water all of your vegetables at the base, especially your leafies. There's no way I can, so they'll be fine. And they're going to get a little spritz of rain tonight, so that'll wash off any of the chemicals that might be laying on them. And the sun's not going to burn them because it's super cloudy. That is the tip for the day. The cat mint doesn't need it. Let me show you one more thing. So these 3 pots are still empty. That's crazy. That's literally 3.5 weeks of growth, and they were this big 3.5 weeks ago. I've got so much to show you guys. I've got so many strawberries. Like, they're everywhere. I have to be careful or else they'll rot. But they're literally, I've got strawberries coming out of my ears, which is awesome for the first year, because I've never done strawberries before, so I have no idea what I'm doing. So I guess I'm lucky. Might get some raspberries. But he saw that those big pots were empty. Rascal. Lunatic. This is less than 7 days since I put these in little starter pots as seeds. These are my beans. My tomatoes are coming up. This is how fast everything grows. So the idea that you won't get instant gratification, it won't be instant, but boy, it's not going to take that long. Before you know it, you're going to be overrun with food. And then if you're like me, you give food away, especially to folks that can't afford to go to the grocery store or that might really, really need it. But all the tomatoes, everything's doing so well. Starting to come up for me. So many different varieties, I think. The Black Beauty, yeah. But this is great. All right, guys, grow. Look how pretty these are. These are holdovers from last year. I'm guessing, so this is a salvia. And I have like the darker purple over there. But I didn't realize it was a perennial. I think at the store it says it's like an annual or semi-annual. And check this out. So this is, Rascal ate this like down to the dirt. And if you look, it's starting to grow again. Isn't life amazing? Like, this is just so flipping cool. I expect these to get a little bit yellow because these are the starter leaves. This is the real spinach. So everything's doing really good. Hope you guys are having a great day. And this is 1 month in. Today is April 21st. I started this on March the 19th, 2 days after St. Patty's. And I planted everything in rotation with the greens. So again, 4, 3, 2, 1, I've harvested some of those, and then Rascal has eaten some out of this group. All the seeds are up. Kitchen garden's gonna be banging. Let's run down here real quick, because you can see everything's going up. Everything. So, last but certainly not least, I showed you the broccolis. These, let me see if I can zoom in on them a little bit. Okay, this is carrot that I started from a top of a carrot from the store. I just wanted to see how it was gonna do. It looks like that one's doing good. I've got some more stuff here. I don't think all of these are carrots, because this was like the herb side last time, so I have an idea that this stuff is gonna cover itself with random herbs, which is cool. If I need to thin it back, I will. But, so I have 2 out of 4 that I planted. Look like they're gonna take. And then, from last week to this, these are probably up to my first knuckle, and they were about that tall last week. So, that's all the news that's meant to print here in the garden. So, from me and Kaya, and Molly Brown and Rascal, signing off. And I'll see you next week. I'm going to try and do weekly updates, just so you can get like a feel of how well everything's doing, or how shitty everything's doing, because it might not all be great. I think I'm a little early on this. Yeah, I am. I'm too early. Alright, we'll just tuck that away. I just don't want it to hit the ground because I don't want any rot. But we're good. We'll see you next week. Cheers. Happy gardening from Jekyll at Home.